Imagine living in a democracy where the governing party, terrified of facing voters because they know they're about to get absolutely hammered at the ballot box, simply cancels elections, not postpones them for a few weeks due to emergency, not reschedules them for logistical reasons, cancels them, denies millions of Britons a chance to vote because the results might be politically inconvenient. Sound like something from a dodgy authoritarian regime, right? Belarus, perhaps. Venezuela. Russia. Except this isn't happening in some far-flung dictatorship. This is happening right here in Britain, under a Labour government that won a massive majority just months ago and is now so terrified of electoral consequences that they are seriously considering cancelling even more elections. Nigel Farage has accused Sir Keir Starmer of turning Britain into a banana republic, and frankly, it's becoming rather difficult to argue with him. Let's unpack this absolutely outrageous assault on democratic norms. Quick favor. If you're loving what we're doing here at British Mirror, hit that subscribe button and smash the bell icon. Over 94% of you haven't subscribed yet. It's completely free, takes about 2 seconds, and honestly means the world to us. Cheers if you've already done it. Right, back to the show. Labour could deny millions of Britons a chance to vote by cancelling even more elections next year, a polling guru last night warned. Even more elections. That phrasing is critical because it implies Labour has already cancelled some elections, which they have, and is now considering cancelling additional ones. We're not talking about one postponement due to unforeseen circumstances. We're talking about systematic denial of voting rights across multiple regions because the government fears electoral consequences. That's not democratic governance. That's authoritarian instinct dressed up in bureaucratic language. The fear of an electoral wipeout in May is now influencing much thinking within the Labour Party and could see Sir Keir Starmer delay further polls, Lord Hayward said. Fear of electoral wipeout. Let's be crystal clear about what that means. Labour knows they're going to lose catastrophically in May's local elections. They've seen the polls showing them at 18 to 20% nationally. They've seen reforms surging to 25 to 30%. They know their own MPs are panicking. They know voters have turned decisively against them, and their response isn't to improve their policies, communicate better, or deliver results that might win back public support. Their response is to cancel elections so voters can't express their discontent. That's not democracy. That's cowardice masquerading as administrative necessity. Lord Hayward is no random commentator. He's a respected pollster and Tory peer with decades of experience analysing electoral trends. When he warns that fear of wipeout is influencing Labour thinking, he's not speculating wildly. He's observing behaviour, connecting dots, drawing conclusions based on evidence. The pollster has predicted Reform UK will be the biggest winner, while Labour is likely to come off worst, and that a poor performance would add substantially to the fire for the Prime Minister. Substantially to the fire. That's diplomatic language for Sir Keir's position would become completely untenable. A catastrophic performance in May's local elections would trigger leadership challenges, backbench rebellions, media declarations that his premiership is over. Labour knows this. That's why they are desperately looking for ways to avoid facing voters. Lord Hayward added that Conservative leader Kemi Badenoch's position is looking more assured, too. More assured. The Conservatives, who suffered their worst defeat in history just months ago, are stabilizing. Their leader, who face immediate speculation about her future, is looking secure. Meanwhile, Labour, who won a massive majority, are in complete chaos with their leader fighting for survival. That's an extraordinary reversal in just 6 months. It tells you everything about how catastrophically Labour has mismanaged their early months in government. The Tory peer said, "I am not convinced that further elections will not be cancelled. In some counties, the position about future local government structures is so uncertain that it might even make sense to defer. Not convinced further elections will not be cancelled. That double negative creates deliberate ambiguity. But the meaning is clear. Lord Hayward expects Labour to cancel more elections. And notice the justification, uncertainty about future local government structures. That's bureaucratic cover for political calculation. Yes, Labour is reorganizing local government in various regions. But that reorganization is itself politically motivated, designed to create Labour-friendly unitary authorities. And now they're using that same reorganization as excuse to cancel elections. It's circular reasoning deployed to avoid democratic accountability. Millions of people in Essex, Hampshire and the Solent, Sussex and Brighton, and Norfolk and Suffolk have already been denied a vote in mayoral elections until 2028. Already been denied. This isn't speculation about what might happen. This has already happened. Millions of Britons have lost their right to vote for their mayors until 2028. That's 4 years without being able to hold local leadership accountable. 4 years where mayors can govern without facing electoral consequences. That's not temporary administrative adjustment. That's significant democratic deficit imposed on millions of people without their consent. Meanwhile, almost 10 million more voters face having their local elections delayed until 2027 after the government asked more than 60 district and county councils if they wanted to suspend elections due in May 2026. Almost 10 million more voters. Let's add that up. Millions already denied mayoral votes until 2028. 10 million potentially denied local elections until 2027. We're talking about double-digit millions of Britons being prevented from exercising democratic rights because Labour fears electoral consequences. That's not minor administrative tinkering. That's systematic suppression of democratic participation. And the mechanism is particularly insidious. The government asked councils if they wanted to suspend elections. That creates plausible deniability. Labour can claim councils requested delays, not that government imposed them. But everyone knows how this works. Central government signals what it wants, applies pressure, offers incentives, and local councils comply. Reform leader Nigel Farage has said the Prime Minister is turning Britain into a banana republic. Banana republic. That's strong language. It's the kind of accusation that would normally be dismissed as hyperbolic political theatre. Except in this case, it's uncomfortably accurate. What do we call a country where the governing party cancels elections to avoid facing voters? Where millions of citizens are denied democratic rights for years? Where fear of electoral consequences drives constitutional decisions? That's not mature democracy. That's democratic backsliding. That's a behavior of politicians who decided maintaining power is more important than respecting democratic norms. That last sentence is a killer. Even if the job is incredibly difficult, even if anyone would struggle, Starmer specifically is not the right man for it. Someone else might succeed or at least have a chance. Starmer doesn't. Preston's formal prediction is emphatic. My prediction is Keir Starmer goes, absolutely. I thought he would be gone by the end of 2025. And I have to confess, I did put a small £10 bet on that, which hasn't worked. I've now officially lost 10 quid. The fact that he actually bet money on Starmer being gone by end of 2025 shows this isn't just punditry. Preston was confident enough to wager on it. He was wrong on timing, but maintains his right on the ultimate outcome. I think most people feel that he will be gone. Most people don't think it's certain. I think it's almost certain he has to go. The football manager analogy Preston uses is perfect and devastating. Labour cannot improve. It's like a football manager when the club is at the bottom of the league. 3/4 of the season have gone, and your only chance now is to change leadership. You swap managers. This captures the logic of leadership change when recovery under current management seems impossible. You're not necessarily sacking the manager because they are bad. You're sacking them because the situation is beyond salvaging under their leadership, and only change offers hope. When Dawn Neeson asks who would replace Starmer, Preston immediately names Andy Burnham as the popular choice at the moment. Burnham is currently mayor of Greater Manchester and doesn't have a parliamentary seat, but Preston dismisses it as a minor obstacle. He doesn't have a seat, but that's easily doable. I think Clive Lewis came forward and offered his seat, which he really shouldn't have done, that undermined Keir Starmer in early December. I think there would be plenty of people that would step forward and do that knowing they'd be compensated down the line by the Labour leader. This is where the prediction gets really interesting because it outlines a specific mechanism. Burnham becomes Labour leader. Some Labour MP, probably in a safe seat, agrees to stand down and trigger by-election. Burnham stands in that by-election, wins easily because of the safe Labour seat, enters Parliament, and becomes Prime Minister. The MP who stood aside gets compensated with a peerage or some other position. It's been done before in British politics and could easily be done again if Labour decides Burnham is their salvation. Preston's analysis of Reform UK and Nigel Farage is also insightful. He notes Reform is polling around 28% on average, and even if they drop to 25%, They should be very comfortable because that's still historically high for a party of their type. But he identifies a psychological danger. The problem is, it's at momentum, isn't it? If it were to carry on, and when you fall, like with football, when you have a bad run, people start fighting, infighting, causing trouble behind the scenes, and that's a very difficult job for a manager to handle. Preston raises a question about Farage's leadership, and the question is, if they dip down to 22% and there's infighting, is Nigel Farage the right man to manage that? This parallels his Starmer critique. It's not enough to be good when things are going well. Leadership is about handling adversity, managing declining momentum, preventing infighting. Can Farage do that? Preston seems uncertain. The broader context for all of this is Labour's catastrophic polling. They are being hammered across almost every metric. Approval ratings are terrible. Economic confidence is low. Trust in government is cratering. The contrast between pre-election promises and post-election reality is stark. Voters feel deceived, disappointed, and angry. That's the environment in which Starmer is trying to project optimism and hope, and it's simply not working because he doesn't have the personal charisma or political capital to overcome it. Preston's sympathy for Starmer actually makes his critique more powerful. He is not gleefully predicting the PM's demise out of partisan hatred. He genuinely feels sorry for Starmer's impossible situation, while still concluding that he's doomed. That's more devastating than pure partisan attack because it suggests even sympathetic observers see no path forward for Starmer.